Hello notary friends, welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know, I'm Edith with Notable Moments Notary. I run a notary business in New Jersey, and this video is basically about your experience. It's not going to be my experience is not going to be your experience. And I see that so often in this notary world where you see comments in groups, you cannot do this. Of course, follow your state laws. Follow your state laws, but there are just things like, what was it? I saw someone say not to use the little if you know, you know, if you're already a notary, and you know, there are these drop stations that UPS and FedEx has where you scan the document and put them in the drop box. Now, I never put them in the drop box just because I'm always in fear of what if it stays in the bottom of the box. So although I scan it there, I still hand it to the UPS person. So I don't wait in line, UPS or FedEx. I still drop it, hand it to a worker, an employee, versus dropping it in that box. And I've seen people tell you, oh, you don't leave them there, or don't use the machine because it cancels out the next day's shipping. That's not true, and at least not in my area. Maybe, again, talk to your local UPS or FedEx and double check and make sure before you use one of them, because maybe that's their experience. That's not my experience, right? Other things like marketing to your local, like UPS, and people having UPS collaborations. I've tried that. That has not worked for me. Like, they won't even... my UPS has like a little area where people post like their business cards, stuff like that. And I've left my business cards. I'm a realtor, right? So a realtor and my notary cards, they threw out my notary cards, but my real estate cards are still there. That's hate. And I know as the UPS, they don't notarize loan packages, estate planning packages, at least like the big ones, large ones. They don't do that. I've done like a estate planning package that was like almost 250 pages. It's the most I've ever done. And UPS doesn't do that, I feel like, right? A collaboration would be nice. That does work for some other notaries. That did not work for me, but that doesn't mean I'm telling you not to do it. Anything that you hear that works for someone, I think that you should absolutely try it and see what works for you, right? One of the things that people do is networking. Networking absolutely works for me. And it's one of the easiest, free 99 in most cases, because sometimes you have to pay for networking events. But I went to a lot of free events or low cost events in the beginning. So I was, hustling. I like to call it shaking hands, kissing babies. I did that a lot, and I still do it. I used to do it more in the beginning than I do now, but I did that a lot. Meet people, let everyone that I met that I was a notary. I even wore a pin just because introvert, right? I'm an introvert. And so I wore a pin that says I'm a notary, and it helped me start conversations. People would see it and be like, oh my God, that's so cute. What kind of notary are you? Blah, blah, blah. Or sometimes people will be like, I'm a notary as well. And it started a lot of conversations for me. So networking worked a lot for me, and right, like, it might not work for you for whatever reason. I'm not going to say that it won't work. I do think that that's something that's very effective. The more people you meet, talking, letting everybody you know. The pop-bys doesn't necessarily work for me, at least not in my county. I could go out to my neighboring counties where it's less city-like. Here is very city-like. The office buildings have security. You need to have an appointment to get up. They're going to call for you to come upstairs. Obviously, if they don't know who you are, you're not getting upstairs. But my neighboring counties are less like that. Pop-bys might work better in those areas. However, I would like to stay in my county as much as possible. Of course, I can grow and go to those places and they'll likely work, but in my county, in my area, it does not work as efficient does not work like other people in rural areas or non-city like areas. It doesn't work. I've seen people tell you, what else have I seen people do? I've seen people tell you never, ever, ever email the scanned documents to a client, that it's not allowed. And of course, if instructions tell me not to email documents, I won't. However, a lot of my current direct partners have no problem with me emailing the documents to the client after we're done. So everything is always going to be case by case. Always ask permission, right? Always ask, can I do this? What do you prefer in the clients that you're working with? Because everyone's going to like things to be done a little bit different. The way you scan your documents back, some people like you to keep them in exactly the same order. Some would like you to scan back with certain documents, funding documents, will like them all in the front and ask you to do that. Someone asks you not to mix up the title and loan documents, even though all of those documents some of those documents are needed for funding. Everywhere is going to be very different. Every situation for you is going to be very different. So always take what someone else says with a grain of salt. I don't like to speak in absolutes just because what works for me or what instructions and directions I get here, that might not be happening where you live. And what someone else says, I've often seen things that I followed doesn't necessarily apply to me here, but people will say it with absolute matter of fact. And it's not necessarily true for everyone. So just take it with a grain of salt. Try everything that people are saying to try. Like I've seen people say, oh, like their Google My Business page, like it doesn't work, but are you keeping it updated? I have it linked to my website, so I don't know if like that helps it. It's always worked for me. I've had a Google My Business page for 6 years. I always get found on Google, and now I'm getting found on ChatGPT, which I think is so crazy. I'm getting those comments way more now when I ask a client like, "Hey, how'd you find me?" I'm getting more now. Like ChatGPT is now referring me, and I really love that for me. But yeah, everyone's experience is going to be different in this industry and any industry for that matter. So no matter like what type of business you're doing, it's always going to be different. So take anything, any feedback, thoughts, directions, except for your state laws. Whatever your state laws are, please follow that. But like the general things, like I said, marketing advice, supplies, directions on how to do something, that may be for them and not for you, right? Someone might give you completely different directions. Someone may prefer something, again, the way you scan back, your communication. It's all going to be different. So just take everything with a grain of salt while you're out there, and all the information that you're taking in with a grain of salt. Like if it's not a law, like everyone can relax. And if it's not something that your client needs, wants, desires, then also, proceed how your client wants you to proceed. Right? Yeah. So that's it. That's my like mini TED talk. My experience won't be your experience. Your experience won't be mine. Just try everything that you can, and whatever does work for you, double down on that. If marketing works for you, go to more not marketing. If networking events work for you, go to more networking events. If sending out flyers work for you, send out more flyers. If pop-bys work for you, do that more frequently. Double down on it. If being on social media works more for you, which that's working for me a lot more now. People see me, people recognize me, and that means I have to do more videos. As daunting as it may feel, I have to double down and do more videos because people are finding me more. I get calls now. I was watching your video. I saw you offered this service, and I think that that's amazing. So what does that mean for me? I need to do more videos because I'm being seen more. I'm being found more. It's creating more business for me. So that means I should do that more. So try everything under the sun. Always follow your laws, but try everything under the sun, and whatever works for you, keep doing that. And if it doesn't work for somebody else, that's okay. If something doesn't work for you, that's okay. Boom, this doesn't work for me. Move on next. What's next? So don't get discouraged if something doesn't work for you, but it worked tremendously for somebody else. Things that has worked for other people didn't work for me. That doesn't mean that I gave up. All right, so keep your head up, keep grinding, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.